Contest through 3, and we're all tied up at 10 apiece. The Enforcers and the Quakes, the men heading onto the track for the final period. Once again, trackside, here are Ken and Hawk.
As Blaze Leon breaks out on the inside, I'd have to question Sean Atkinson's strategy, why he took himself out of the pack to serve the carryover on Jamie Conamac's penalty. But right now it's Blaze Leon being pursued by Gary Lockerbie. Remember, it was Lockerbie that came to the Quakes in the trade for Brian Gallagher. And Lockerbie has given an excellent account of himself so far. And a great elbow by Lockerbie sends Leon down, and Lockerbie closing on the pack, waiting for him. Mark D'Amato at battle of the number 20s. D'Amato says Lockerbie high. Lockerbie not being real aggressive and trying to go past Mark D'Amato. I can't necessarily say I blame him. 3 elbows in a row. And now, you see D'Amato trying to get him in a headlock. He was unable to do it. Now D'Amato locks elbows. Let's see, being very alert, Lockerbie. And there you see it. They're working so well. Tim Washington just levels Lockerbie.
And that looked like the World Trade Center coming down on a small cab in the city of Manhattan. Ugly.
Let's join Danny Wolf trackside.
All right, I'm here with Jamie Conamac. Unbelievable action between you and Heather Gunnan. You said payback was a bitch, and I guess you meant it.
She got what's coming to her. You know, I really love it when, people totally underestimate me. The best thing, come in small packages, baby. That's all I've got to say.
Obviously, Shelley Rosell didn't take much of those comments.
Well, from a small package to the biggest of the big, there's Tim Washington.
11-10, California Quakes. You know the Enforcers can't be happy about this one. D'Amato now gives the whip to John Morrissey, trying to spring it free, but coming out is Anthony Santiago. A double whip for the Quakes, and here comes the skull, John Morrissey, Santiago and Morrissey.
Well, and Atkinson's back out there. You know what, Ken? I think that Sean Atkinson saw an opportunity to show unity with his girls. On the male side of the Quakes, they seem to be doing pretty well. The Quakes, who've been in disarray for a while, I think Sean Atkinson really sees an opportunity to kind of come in together to show unity with the women on the California Quakes.
And Santiago does a good job of taking down Morrissey. Now Santiago closing, but and a great job by Atkinson eliminating Brian Gamble. And now it is D'Amato, and Santiago is able to go by and very quickly cutting it off. This is a bit of a low-scoring game. Smart move.
You saw a smile on the face of Sean Atkinson as he paved the way for number 12, Anthony Santiago. It wasn't the prettiest thing around, but it got the job done. Danny Wolf trackside.
All right, Hawk and Ken, Heather Gunnan has left the track with our medical support team, went back to the locker room. She had a split lip. That was noticeable, but she was also holding her jaw. So right now, the medical team's looking at her in our little facility in the back. I'll tell you what, I think this is in no way over between Jamie Conamac and Heather Gunnan. Heather, she was almost in tears, bloody lip, holding her jaw, and I think the next time the Quakes meet the Enforcers, talk about the fur flying. It's going to be unbelievable.
2 of the Enforcers are out. The other California Quake jammer unable to get out at all. But Mark James, the lead jammer, closing on the pack.
And the Enforcers seem to have some wheels to them tonight in the mega match, Ken. We talked about the fact they had an easy time with the Rustlers. They seem to be able to...
James right down.
Big shot. I don't think James knew what hit him.
Now, Sean Atkinson is doing a great job at the very back of the pack. And so far, coming around, Fred Eichhorn has been unable to get by and the attack. But now Washington has Atkinson in a headlock. Mark James sneaks around on the inside. Double damage. Washington takes down Atkinson, but James comes through on the inside.
And he calls it the Eliminator. Well, I tell you, Sean Atkinson looks like some of his consciousness has been eliminated. As he stumbles and bubbles, Ken, he may be out for quite a while.
Mark D'Amato and Tim Washington certainly very, very pleased with themselves. Commissioner Jerry Seltzer not very unhappy about the annex the Enforcers are displaying. And now Broadway Danny Wolf is trackside.
All right, I'm here with Brian Gamble. There's just over 2 minutes left. What's the strategy in the last few minutes?
Definitely, brother. All we need is 2 more minutes. 2 minutes to dominate through devastation, just like my man Marco Marconi said. Domination through devastation. More to come. Stay tuned. 2 minutes.
Whatever he just said, Brian Gamble seeming confident.
It's still anybody's matchup. We'll be back with the final 2 minutes right after this.
The final minutes of the game coming up. It's the Enforcers 14, the California Quakes 13. Mark D'Amato and Sean Atkinson will decide it on the track. Once again, trackside, here are Ken and Hawk.
Once again, they're underway. Again, Mark D'Amato's familiar spot way at the front of the pack. And now coming high for the New York Enforcers as we come around. Fred Eichhorn breaking out. Both the California Quake Jammers tied up in the middle. Eichhorn getting a big lead on the pack.
Well, I think our good buddy Sean Atkinson has finally cleared the cobwebs out. He really took a shot in that last jam. And
now, Eric Slopey breaks away.
Eric Slopey, and these California Quakes, they seem to be hanging tough here with the very physical, intimidating New York Enforcers.
Now Eichhorn closing in on Sean Atkinson, and here comes Santiago catching up as Atkinson doing a good job, and now he puts down Eichhorn. The entire pack goes down. What a great opportunity for Eric Slopey as he goes around and finally cuts it off.
And 4 big points for the white pony there, Ken. You look at the expression on his face, I don't even know how, he's probably looking to see how many points he scored. But here you see Sean Atkinson and friends, including Rusty Montgomery, paving the way for the white pony. He cleans house, cleans up. The Quakes shake Bob Squatter voicing their approval. Great job of the California Quakes here as we get down to the nut crunch time.
Under a minute and a half to go. The Quakes lead at 17-14, and Dan Giovanni breaks out for the Enforcers along with Fred Eichhorn. The California Quakes better spring Mark James or someone in a big hurry, because right now both the Enforcers closing in on the pack, and Hawk, you can just feel New York smelling blood.
Well, these guys, they don't like losing to anybody, but they really don't like to lose to Sean Atkinson and the Quakes. And earlier, Sean Atkinson put a big hurting on Mark D'Amato, and I know these Enforcers are really ticked off.
And Atkinson now trying to keep both the Enforcers Jammers back. He throws off his helmet. D'Amato dispatches Mark James with ease, but Sean Atkinson now into the railing, and Mark D'Amato and the Enforcers absolutely cleaning house. All the Quakes are down on the track. D'Amato says conquer through devastation, and he absolutely single-handedly devastated the entire California Quake team, allowing Fred Eichhorn and company to go through and pick up 8 big points.
Well, motivation, devastation. I think Mark D'Amato may even be talking about consummation, but right here you see Sean Atkinson, a helmetless Sean Atkinson, taking it out of the chin as he flies into the uprights. Ken, little insult to injury. Mark D'Amato doing it all.
Quakes lead it by 5, but remember, the jam, forget the game clock, the jam can run for the entire 60 seconds unless one of the Enforcers breaks out, as Dan Giovanni has just done. Once 30 seconds have expired on a jam, the lead jammer can't cut it off.
And Sean Atkinson, you saw there, some of the California Quakes were down nursing injuries from Mark D'Amato. He was screaming, let's go, get up, let's go, so they can try to get a chance to start the last jam so they can get the lead back and win the game, Ken.
Gary Lockerbie trying to close in on Dan Giovanni. 30 seconds left of the jam. There's a Wall Street. And Gary Lockerbie has virtually no effect right now. The Enforcers almost taunting the Quakes.
He looks like a dolphin caught in a tuna net, Ken.
Lockerbie can do nothing. Now Atkinson goes by and they go down as we are kicking down, and now the referees pull it off. We'll wait for any scoring.
And how fitting that they're not going to get anything else off. Can the New York Enforcers win the 5-borough lineup with the Wall Street to close it out here today?
Amy Craig or not, the California Quakes didn't quite have enough in this game. The New York Enforcers win it 22-18. Mark D'Amato celebrates once again. Well, that's it from Rollerjam Arena. Hope you enjoyed it as much as we did. For Ken Resnick, for Lee Hawk Rearman, and for Broadway Danny Wolf, I'm Rory Marcus. Good night, everybody.